In this class, we will discuss the act of imitation that Aristotle wants to sell. In case of imitation that Aristotle wants to postulate in his Poetics, we need to understand one thing. That suppose there is a story of a fox without a tail. So, whenever the fox is manipulating the other foxes to make them fulfill his own order that you have to cut off your tails, and there was at a place there was disagreement, and this fox had been driving away. So this is the storyline. And in case of Aristotle, he just states that imitation is done by poets. That means poetry imitates the real world. So if the fox story is being dealt with in the poetry, then how is the real thing? Does it happen that we are observing the foxes are doing this? No, not like this. But fox represents a human, crude human, and the other foxes who are very common public, who just listen to their master, to their guide. And it happens that in most of the cases, their leader manipulates the common public's conscience. This is the moral of this story. So it inevitably represents our real world situation. So here Aristotle defines that imitation means the representation of real world. So poetry imitates the real world. On the other hand, Plato confronts with this mimesis or imitation. Plato didn't support this theorization. On the other hand, Plato said that the real world is the photocopy or copy of an ideal world. So whenever a poet just imitates a real world, they are imitating or they are copying from a copy. So real world is a copy of ideal world, and their poetry is the copy of real world. That's why Plato didn't accept poetry in his ideal world and wanted to drive away the poets from his realm that he wanted to build. So in this way, the difference between Aristotle and Plato lies on the thing that Plato believes there is an ideal world, and real world is the photocopy of that ideal world. So a poet can't justify this thing, rather the poets are falsifying the falsehood. But in the case of Aristotle, I think he didn't have that conception of a real or ideal or that is beyond this real or. So real or is all for him, and he wanted to present the theory on the basis of this real or. And what the poets do in regards of this real or. Then, in case of understanding imitation, how the poets imitate this real or, he had proposed three principles of imitation. First of all, the poets imitate the medium. Number two, the poets imitate the objects. And number three, the poets imitate the mode or manner. So what does the medium simplify? For example, If we want to sing, we need some tune, then music. If we want to dramatize something, we need action. Then if we want to recite poetry or compose poetry, we need rhyme and rhythm and also metrical structure. So this metrical structure, then music and tune for the song and action for the dramas are medium. So on the basis of this medium, poetry differs. Number two, object means people or subject matter. That poetry deals with people. If it's tragic poetry or if it's comic poetry, it differs on the basis of the treatment of that object. It may happen that there are some poetry which just imitates the words human, and there are some poetry which imitates better human. So the imitation of better human and worse human just characterizes the differences of poetry. And number three, manner represents how the poets just deal with their stories. Maybe a poet may narrate the story, and maybe a poet describes the scene, describes the features or characteristics or behavior of the objects or the characters in a poetry. So from this point of view, medium, objects and manner, imitation takes place. So I think from my today's discussion, one thing is clear to you, that poetry imitates our real world, and it imitates on the basis of three principles, that it imitates medium, it imitates objects and it imitates manner. Medium represents the tone, maybe tune, maybe action, then also maybe rhyme and rhythm, and objects represent whether the poetry representing better human being, whether the poetry representing worse human being, and mode represents how the story is being dealt with, whether it's the poet narrating the incidents or events, or whether the poet describing the features, the characterizations of those objects in a poem. Thank you for listening to us. We will further discussion in our next class.